good morning to you. Edmond Combat of the Tema Oil Refinery. Mercy. Mercy is also your in-law. Great lady. I met her the other time. Great lady. A friend of mine with the Ghana Highway Authority, Bernard Ni Ashayankra, has the son celebrating the birthday. Kendricks Jonathan Ni Okanta Ankra is 2 years. So Bernard of the Ghana Highway Authority says Kendricks is celebrating the birthday. Hey, Charlie, Kendricks Lema. Cookie, is that not the name? Kendricks Lema, right? Kendrick Lama. Lema. Lamar. Hey, America for. These are the names, Charlie. We they lose the names. But we have an interesting conversation. We're just a day to the State of the Nation address. It's a constitutional requirement for the President of the Republic of Ghana. He gave the last one, or the first one, as the newly sworn-in President of the Republic. This will be the second one he'll be having in the second year of his administration. Importantly, there are some few things we need to highlight. Today, I want to focus on the subject of health. A lot of things have been happening. We're talking about the no-bet syndrome and the question about whether, with government being a continuum, we need to make sure we focus on the continuous construction of the Agenda 111 projects. The La Hospital project is also there. Constantly, you have former Deputy Minister and then Minister subsequently, Bernardo Koboy, Dr. Bernardo Koboy, also being on the neck of government, neck pressing deep to make sure the right things are done. And as a credible media house, we also want to focus to get the right things advocated for the people. So luckily we have the Deputy Minister for Health also among us. So for the state of the nation, when it comes to health, we want to focus on that, and then creditably also make that possible for us to be able to have a thorough introspection on the subject as well, okay? And so I'll just quickly do the introductions. And I have Rodalyn Ayana. Rodalyn Ayana is here. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
How are you too?
I'm well. And so we're going to have these discussions thereof with the Deputy Minister for Health, who is also the Member of Parliament for Isikado Kitan, and Dr. Grace Ayensodankwa is here. Dr. Grace Ayensodankwa, welcome. How are you?
Well,
Great. It's been a while.
It has.
It has been, yes.
You've
been busy in office.
That is correct.
And then we have Ellen Amadeko, member of the MPP's communication team. She's also an entrepreneur in her own right. So good morning to you, Ellen.
Hi.
Good to see you back.
Good to see you too.
Okay. We'll start on a smooth level. I know you as well. So we don't have any. We'll pick up the pieces from where we left off. Yeah, one of my best friends.
You do like peace.
Yes.
I'm sitting down quietly.
No, so we want the conversation to be a bit heated, but to be frank also. And then we're going to have Hajia Gloria is going to join us, the National Women's Organizer for the United Party. So make sure you join us. And the Global Info Analytics poll is indicating that there have been mixed reactions. Farmers in the Western North region are not happy with the slash in the prices of the end season for the cocoa that the government is going to buy from them, or the intermediary aggregators are going to buy from them, and the government will have to pay. And so the prices being slashed is a big problem for them. Global Info Analytics decided to do a poll on this. Musa has been receiving a lot of flack on social media, a lot of trolls as well. He's also been defending. So we'll take a look at that if we can. But here we are on the subject. We decided also to talk on this subject of health. And Dr. Grace Ayesodankwa, the most prominent of the subjects that seem to be focusing on health recently has been why we seem to have hospitals, and when it comes to patients needing care, we're told that there are no beds, and so they are turned away. We had a good statement made by Professor Titus Bayo as well, but it's at the heart of health and public health administration and its management. At the ministry, what recognition have you given to this, and what is being done?
Thank you, and thank you to your audience. The ministry has given a lot of thought to it, and we've been working on it for a long time. And unfortunately, this incident happened while we were looking into it, or while we were finding solutions, and we've actually found solutions to the problem. What is the no-bed syndrome? The no-bed syndrome is where people get to the emergency rooms, or they get through to the ambulances, get there, and they say there's no beds available in the hospital. When we say no bed, I believe it means that there is not an available open bed in the hospital. But why would there not be a bed? And I think that is, how did we get here, and what is the way forward? Well, I believe that it is a systemic failure in the entire emergency system. It starts off with pre-hospital care. When the ambulance picks a person, there's a series of things must happen while the ambulance picks the person. In medicine, we have something called the golden hour. The golden hour is the first hour after the trauma happens or the incident happens. That first 60 minutes. Decisions we make in that first 60 minutes will either make or unmake the situation. Decisions we make in that first 60 minutes is what is going to keep the person alive, or the person is not going to be alive based on those decisions. So the first 60 minutes are the critical hour. That's why we call it the golden hour. So for instance, let's talk about the incident in question. The patient is picked up. Once on the field, what happens on the field in the first place? Because we do have pre-hospitals, which is when the patient was found in, I believe, around Circle. What happened when the ambulance got there? Then the ambulance picks the patient. What happens inside the ambulance up to the level of the hospital? Once the patient gets to the hospital, what happens? So it's a series of continuous things that has to be done. In the field, there's a lot of things we can do. We can do CPR. We can stabilize the patient. In the ambulance, there's a lot of things we can do. We can stabilize the patient. We can start IVs. We can put IV fluid on them. Currently, what we do is scoop and run. Scoop and run is we go, we pick up, the ambulance picks up the patient, and basically it is a transportation device that takes the person to the hospital. Elsewhere, ambulances are not just transportation devices. Things have to happen inside the ambulance because, like I said, the golden hour is that first 60 minutes. So the ABCs, which is the airway, the breathing, and the circulation, to make sure that the patient is breathing. The airway is not obstructed. The patient is breathing. The second one is to make sure that the circulatory system is intact, meaning that the person is not bleeding, obvious bleeding. Even if it's internal bleeding, you have to know that this patient's blood pressure is declining rapidly. And so what do? That means that we have to set an IV and start IV lines. Once we get to the hospital, basically in most jurisdictions, you just hand over the patient to the hospital staff. So when they say no bed syndrome, then it's not just an ambulance issue. It is not just a hospital issue. And it might not necessarily even be that there's actually no bed. Because our solution is to have a hospital management and referral integration system that is usually IT run, which is what happens elsewhere. So there's a central place or house or office where somebody sits and looks at has a dashboard of, for instance, each district, or let's say Accra, Greater Accra. Where are the hospitals? And what beds are available in the hospital?
We intend having.
This is what we should have. And this is what we are proposing to the government, and we're working on it for us to have. So now we're looking at people who will give us different versions of it and what we get for the totality of it. So somebody has to sit down and say, for instance, let's talk about Ridge Hospital. How many beds are available in Ridge Hospital? How many ICU beds? How many emergency room beds? How many women's ward beds? How many male wards? How many maternity beds? All that information must be in real time. So this morning, February 26th at 7:48, what exactly is happening in each hospital? When the ambulance picks the person, The ambulance is supposed to have a call that goes to the call center that would tell you that don't take this patient to, for instance, Rich because the emergency beds are all occupied. Take the patient rather to UGMC. UGMC has 5 emergency beds available. And most likely this patient, once they're treated in the emergency room, they will need to go to the intensive care unit. And they do have 1 intensive care unit bed available. So take this patient, bypass all those other places and go straight to Ridge Hospital. That is what a proper medical emergency referral bed system, that is how it works elsewhere. I mean, I'm a traumatologist, by the way, so I'm an emergency
You're a
room.
traumatologist.
That is correct.
Okay.
So I'm a surgeon who works in the emergency.
So I think the incident really falls within your specialized area.
That is correct.
Okay.
So
Why have we had the absence of this?
the absence is a systemic issue. First, what type of ambulances do we have? Most of our ambulances do not even have the equipment. I mean, yesterday I was talking to the EMTs, and some of the ambulances don't have air condition. They don't have the commodities, you know, to start the IV. They don't even have the IV fluid itself in the ambulance. Second of all, the ambulance itself is, I mean, it's just the latest ambulances that were procured were not even the right kind of ambulances in terms of our terrain.
Okay.
It doesn't fit our terrain.
They're Mercedes-Benz and...
most of them are broken down. So it doesn't fit our African terrain. Maybe in Europe or somewhere else they're good. But you know, in Ghana we have potholes, and so we need a very durable vehicle. So it starts with
more rugged.
That is correct. So the issue is it starts with the procurement of the ambulance itself. Once the ambulance comes here, who is responsible for maintenance of the ambulance? What company is doing the maintenance? What company is buying the equipment? Currently, what we have is most of the ambulances are out of commission because even the servicing company is not really servicing, and the parts they are buying is not essential parts. And these are systemic issues, and this is not, I'm not making this up. This is like the real information.
I think we all realize that. So
exactly.
Okay, does it mean that the incidents with the gentleman, then got a consciousness awoken in a way?
That is correct.
Okay. So when do
But some of us, our consciousness have already been opened, and that's why President Mahama put us in this situation to come and solve some of these problems.
Are you proposing for these, if approval is given?
Unfortunately, this incident happened while we were still working. So currently, our situation is that we have identified what kind of system we have. We are looking at who has the system in its totality. So we have a few companies that will come and pitch what they can afford, because this is IT, and I'm not an IT person. All I know is I've worked in systems where these emergency systems work. So that is the kind of program that I want to see. Each hospital must have inside the hospital a bed management person who's looking at the beds on real time. Bed management. It's a whole part of hospital management, because somebody has to manage the bed. When somebody is done with the emergency room, where do you send the person? Do you send the person to ICU? Is this a pregnant woman that needs to go to maternity? Is this a person that needs to go to orthopedic ward? Is this a person that needs to go to rehab? Those are all decisions that are internally made that would tell the bed management person how many beds are available and what type of beds are available. So each of the facilities must have that. And not only should they have a bed management who is feeding into the system the real issues on the ground. We have now, okay, one ICU bed is open now. The other one is closed. Okay, now ICU is full. That is the real-time information that bed management person must give. So we have already had meetings with the necessary stakeholders, and we are working on this type of bed management systems within the hospital. So these are the internal systems. Externally, now that feeds into the IT system that would be the command center, where we have either EMTs plus some doctors managing, looking at the dashboard and seeing which hospital has which bed.
And this is for the whole country? You're going to do a centralized?
It must be for the whole country, but we need to also look at our top referral centers. You know, Ghana, everything ends up in the few big hospitals because that is the last referral center. There's also even the issue of delayed referral, but that's a different issue. Now, once they get to the hospital, they're in the emergency room itself. At what point does the nurse or the doctor leave the emergency room itself and enter an ambulance since there's no bed to go and resuscitate a patient that is in an ambulance? Because by definition, the ambulance bed or the stretcher is also a bed. So it's the ambulance is supposed to be a step-down unit, like an ICU.
The current ambulance system we have, the personnel, are they able to provide, is it emergency care, so to speak? Maybe
They
insert
are
IVs
able to, but currently we are also re-looking at the ambulance personnel itself because there's a personnel, one, they don't have enough personnel. Two, the different levels of personnel, some of them we have to retrain or add value to what they are doing now. And then there's also the configuration of the different types of personnel inside the ambulance itself. There's usually 2 or 3 or 4 people in the ambulance. Now, what is the configuration? Is this the advanced person? Is this the intermediate person? Or is the beginner person? So those kinds of levels of ambulance personnel, we are also looking at it. So we have actually, I mean, from the ministry, we've done a comprehensive look at all of our emergency systems. And pretty soon we will launch or we will let the nation know how far we have come.
How long have you
and
been in
where
office?
we want to go. Maybe less than a year.
Less than a year.
That is correct.
Okay. So you took assessment of all this, that the ambulances were broken down, etc. So, so this year you're going to purchase new ones?
Because it is my field, that was the first thing the minister asked me to do, and then brief. And so I have done a lot of research on that, and it's very near and dear to the heart of my minister. So I think that those are the things that we need to do, and we have done those things. And pretty soon we will come out, maybe in the next few months, to let the nation know what we have done with emergency services. At the same time, we're also looking at, we've done Mahama Cares, which is the people who have cancers and the chronic diseases, non-communicable diseases, and we're also now launching the free primary health care. So we are looking at healthcare in all aspects and come up with a comprehensive plan.
We'll come back on. Ellen, what do you make of that? Because this is pure disaster, because especially on the public platform when it comes to social media, I mean, the experiences of individuals within the public space, all of us really, haven't been very good. So people have ample testimonies, real-time service experiences, which also means that ideally we should have been doing something more drastic until that incident that triggered all these conversations.
Well, good morning to
Morning.
everyone.
Morning.
My condolences to the young man who passed,
The family.
who passed away, and to his family. It's not a pleasant experience. And the circumstances surrounding it even makes it more terrible. For him to be passed around hospitals, 3 major, big hospitals that we have in this country, and nobody even deemed it fit to see what was happening in the ambulance. The fact that they were able to get the ambulances there to get him out of that space should tell everybody that at least with all the issues that the ambulance service is having, they showed up. They showed up and they tried to do what they were supposed to do. I'm not saying that the ambulance service is perfect. We all knew their situation before the MPP government came in and all the things that we also did to help. And of course, they need more help. But the fact that they showed up and then they had to roam about Accra with somebody, with him in the ambulance, and there's no bed. One of the questions that I ask, I'm happy the Deputy Minister is here. If there's no bed in the hospital, couldn't the emergency staff have moved to take care of him in the ambulance or give him some first aid in the ambulance while they were looking for a bed? Couldn't that have been done? Why did we have to move him all around? And then after that, there was this experience from a member of parliament. He shared it in parliament. I think I've forgotten his name. He's one of the members from the Volta region. And he said he was also sick. They took him to the hospital. They said there was no bed. His wife had to say that he's an MP. And then a bed miraculously appeared.
So it means if you're not
so
high
it
in
means
society,
that if you don't, some monies don't exchange hands. And because this gentleman's case was an accident, and therefore I think they just didn't know who he was, or they didn't have his ID, or whatever it is, nobody was stood in for him. And that is what is sad. We can complain about everything that we are going through as a nation, but we cannot lose our humanity and what makes us human. And what they did, those people who were at the emergency services on that day in those 3 hospitals, what they did was inhumane. And I think we have to call them out on it. I hear they have been, interdicted. How do you say that there's no bed? The person is in an ambulance, so go check on him. And unfortunately, I heard he was also driving a motorbike. And I also want to bring our attention to how some of our hospital staff treat people who drive motorbikes. In my constituency, that's Wenchi. You know, when people who drive motorbikes have accidents and they are sent to the hospital, some of them actually request that we don't want to go to the specific hospitals because they said they are not treated well by the staff simply because they are driving motorbikes. I know that some of these young people who drive these motorbikes can sometimes be disruptive. I agree. But that doesn't mean that everybody driving a motorbike shouldn't be taken care of. So please, I think they just ignored him because they felt maybe he was a riffraff, somebody who was just...
Because of the prejudice against
those who use motorbikes. And the fact that there was nobody there to speak for him, maybe to pay for the bed, or he wasn't an MP. Neither was he a politician. It's a sad situation, honestly. With all the problems we are having in our health sector, I just think that this should not have happened. It is a terrible situation, and we should look at it sometimes from that angle. As much as we are all pushing that things should be done, of course, the Agenda 111 hospitals, those that have been completed, should be operationalized. Those that haven't been completed, we should complete it, because there was a reason why the hospitals were started. When the COVID emergency happened, and we realized that we all had nowhere to go. We were all stuck here in Ghana. Nowhere in the world was prepared to take anybody because everybody had closed up. That's when we realized that we had to do something about our health system. And it was started. The fact that the government that started it is no more there doesn't mean that it should be left sitting down. I've heard the minister saying that they will complete some, there's a budget for it. Hopefully, as they are trying to complete some, those that have been completed, we should operationalize it. That is the Agenda 111. As we speak right now in this particular incident, it's not about any Agenda 111 hospital. We are speaking about Accra, the greater or the capital city of Ghana, where a Ghanaian had an accident. A Ghanaian ambulance run by the Ghana Ambulance Service picked him up. And according to the staff in the ambulance, they were able to stabilize him. Then they bring him to 3 major hospitals and he's turned away. And the gentleman dies in the ambulance. That is terrible. Inhumane. That is inhumane. And I think that all those people at the emergency on duty on those 3 hospitals, in those 3 hospitals, should really be taken out. It's like they don't care. I'm not saying that we don't have excellent doctors. We do have excellent doctors. We do have excellent nurses, excellent hospital staff. But there are some who are very nonchalant about the health of Ghanaians. And this is a typical example of that. So if you don't show up with a known face, or if you don't show up with somebody who will tell them that this is a Simesi, or this is the daughter of a Simesi, or the family member of so and so, or you have the money to lay down, it means you die. This just came out into the public because the gentleman worked, he has friends, he has family, and they brought it out. But just count the number of Ghanaians who are going through this.
According to the narrative, he's an engineer by profession.
Exactly.
So he's 29. Quite very young. Very young.
So this thing came out because of who he is, and the family protested. But look at the number of Ghanaians who have died quietly with issues like this, and nobody spoke for them.
So we need to do something. How speedily should we do that? The Deputy Health Minister says, well, the overall assessment of the public health system, facilities, well, the professional competence, and then the human resource itself was under some form of overhaul or discussion. But now this has even made it even more imperative, is that not it? How quickly should we move on this?
And I say good morning to our cherished viewers, and also a special good morning to Mr. George Nash. I wish you speedy recovery. Just suffered a stroke, and he's not doing very well.
Oh, speedy recovery, Mr. George Nash.
Yeah. Health. Anytime they talk about health and hospitals, I get a bit emotional about it because I have seen so many people go through hospital procedures, and some have been lucky to be alive and others no. But here's a situation where you have a national health system that is lacking in so many ways. You go to hospital, there's no bed. If you're lucky to have a bed, you may not have medication. If you're lucky to have medication, you might have insensitive medical personnel and the likes of it. But before I continue, what's the state of the parliamentary clinic right now? From the time that someone collapsed, one of the, I think the...
Workers?
No, not workers. I think President Akufo-Addo's time, I think his ADC, his aide collapsed. ADC. And you were very vocal about the way they handled the situation. They lifted the military man right from there, you know. There was no procedure, nothing. And you were very concerned about it, and you did make... So what's happened? Have you been able to rectify that? Has the clinic been well equipped now? Have they trained people to be able to handle such situations?
The clinic is very well equipped now. We do have paramedics. You can't see them in the room, but they are behind the speaker on the back. So at any time they can, some of us are also in the room. Now we have a few physicians in the room. And even only yesterday we were talking about, we've procured some defibrillators for us to put in the hallways. So, so far so good.
All right, so thank you. So it means that at least your voice went far and you were able to. So what you're saying now, I'm hoping that you use the same urgency to get things done.
Thank you.
But then just looking at it this way, if you look at the situations of accidents in this country, a lot of them happen on our highways, so that the first port of call will be the district hospitals. And those district hospitals are not well equipped. Most of them are really, really not well equipped. And if an ambulance should bring a patient, and that ambulance itself does not have what it takes to give first aid, then how do we start from there and getting people into the district hospitals to be treated? So, Doc, I'd like for you to run us down what is expected of us.
Is this an interview?
For a hospital ambulance. What's supposed to be inside that ambulance?
Thank you. Since this has been an interview of me, but anyway,
No, I'm sorry,
don't worry.
but because
okay.
because you're a health person,
That
you're a
is
doctor,
correct.
you are in trauma, and then you did mention about the ambulance being given some sort of...
That is correct.
So I just want to know what exactly is supposed to be in that ambulance.
So,
ideally.
Yes, ideally, because for some of us, they're just empty buses that come and a bed is put in there. But that is not what it's supposed to be. So what ideally is supposed to be in an ambulance?
Ideally, an ambulance should be a hospital on wheels, in a sense. Or it should be an intensive care unit or a step-down unit. So the intensive care is the highest level. The step-down would be the next level up, semi-intensive care. It should have most of the equipment or the medications. For instance, somebody's having a heart attack, it should have something like a crash cart. So all the basic medicines that we use for CPR, it should have. We should have commodities, you know, like gauze, like a tourniquet, like the IV fluids. We should have the IV cannulas. We should have the lines. The ambulance is basically, I mean, I have operated on people in an ambulance, safely in an ambulance, where I've actually cut.
In Ghana?
No, in the US.
Ah.
Where I've actually cut people's people's chest and massage. We call it
in a moving
vehicle. It's called an open thoracotomy, where I actually stuck my hand in the patient's chest to massage it because the CPR was not working. So it's a specific circumstance. So an ambulance, by definition, is a hospital on wheels, or an ICU on wheels, or an emergency room on wheels. So most of the things that we do in emergency rooms can be done in an ambulance if you get the right ambulance and the right equipment and the right personnel.
Okay. So which means that if our ambulances were well equipped, we should be able to save lives before they even get to the hospitals. So it does mean, therefore, that our ambulances have never been well equipped.
No, you can't say that.
No.
Because when the ambulances were brought, they were...
Well, they were empty and they were supposed to be fitted.
No, they were not empty. Not this
They were
batch.
Well, I don't know about...
And I remember the minister
no,
for...
because I'm told that...
Special initiatives at the house.
They were right at the Independence Square. All of you went
They
to
were
check. They were
empty.
not empty.
No, I'm not talking about the MPP ambulances. All ambulances that come into this country, I suppose, come
There are
empty
no
with,
MPP
with
ambulances.
No, because the way you were saying they were...
There are
I saw that they were
ambulances
empty.
procured by the government of
and
Ghana.
they said that...
And the latest ones were not empty.
The equipment came separately to be fitted. That was how I know. That
At the time they were inaugurating it, the equipment were fitted. At least the ones I saw, the 200, was it 200
And they
or
are fitted.
370 something?
So right
They were
now,
not
okay,
empty.
so now we are being told that even the buses are not tropical friendly, so to speak, which means that we've been doing the wrong things all this while. So we have to correct them. And then we also look at a situation where we are looking at our hospitals, for instance, first port of call, emergency units. You get to an emergency unit and already it's crowded. It doesn't even tell you that this is an emergency. Everybody's everywhere. Nurses, doctors, patients,
I don't understand. You want
visitors.
emergency units to
No. You know, when you have all these crushed people in there, how do you get emergency systems working? And then you're looking at a hospital. I keep saying that, you know, we should find some money and retool Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, you know, or all the hospitals, and then also do some basic maintenance, because it's very disheartening for you to be sick and drive into a hospital, and the atmosphere alone doesn't even give you that hope of survival. Because you enter a ward, it was last week I sat here, I said, that thing that you put the IV on is so rusty, so you're even afraid. The beds are rusty, the mattresses are old. You understand? All these things do not speak well for us as a country. And then we're also looking at personnel, the professionalism of our personnel. In as much as they are not being motivated enough, because they all claim that they are not being motivated, they are not being paid well, they don't have the requisite things. But you don't expect people to come and go to work with no gloves, no basic equipment to work with, to deliver of their best. So they will also tell that they get stressed, they get depressed, they get frustrated, so they are doing the best that they can. So I am hoping that... They're retooling. Okay, so it's good to hear that we're retooling, because at the end of the day, we all want the best that we can afford. But you see, most of the time when we're talking about these things, we concentrate too much in Accra, Kumasi, Accra. Look at Tamale Teaching Hospital. They don't even have an MRI, I'm told, or it's broken down.
We're building a cardiac center.
So you're not building a cardiac center, but is the MRI? MRI is probably not working. I don't even know if they have a mammogram machine. You know, those kinds of things. The concentration of Accra, as if Accra happens to be Ghana. It's not right. Because, like I said, accidents happen around Techiman, accidents happen around Kumasi roads, and they go to the district hospitals. Some of them even mission hospitals. You know, some of them private hospitals take them on. And we don't even have those facilities in the district hospitals. So how do we manage as a country? Should we always be thinking about maybe an MP going somewhere, getting wounded? If this young man, you know, hadn't got a family around him to speak up,
to do the advocacy,
and demand and do the advocacy, we wouldn't have gotten all this information. We wouldn't have gotten this kind of reaction from even the Ministry of Health, from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, from all the other hospitals. So it means that somehow something will always have to happen before things are done. We must be proactive. This is the way I see it. So I'm looking at a situation where in this SONA by the president, I'm hoping that more money will be pumped into renovations, more, at least to bring in more technology. But then, I've just remembered another thing. Patient folders. At the beginning of last year or so, we had a problem with patient folders, which was supposed to have been networked, And we were told that the Ministry of Health had contacted or contracted someone or a group to do that. And somehow we had to discard it. Please, can you elaborate for us if you know anything about it?
Now you've turned yourself
No, I've
into...
turned it into because maybe you have not forgotten.
Because you need
but
further
I hope
education.
that you... Yes, I need further
Okay,
education.
so we'll talk about
if
that.
she can
But
elaborate
at the
on
end
that,
of the day,
because we can't speak much.
for the general conversation, we need to ask the question about perhaps the minister and his deputy and his team, after almost a year in office, I mean, should have seen this coming, communicated to us, this is what it is, and so this is what the actions we intend to take, right? So that it didn't have to take this gruesome emergency, this tragedy for us to be awoken, so to speak.
So it's quite unfortunate. Greetings to Alan Tremantin, United Party people. My condolence to West End University College, myself. We lost a very great lecturer, Francis Bafo. It's quite unfortunate because I quite remember Raphael doing a video attacking, there was an issue at
the Ridge
incident. So we should have learned great lessons from there. We were all over on the media talking about it for a long time, and it died off. So this issue about Ghana always tackling issues when the emergency happens and then leaves it is a worry as well. We've come long, and when you go to Kolebu, I've had the opportunity of giving birth at Kolebu, Ridge, in fact, Lekma Hospital. You know, I don't like family planning, so I like giving birth. I wish I could even give birth again. But
how many do you have so far?
I have 6.
You have just 6?
It's not easy. 5 CSS. So I've been on 5 cesarean tables.
But what are your experiences generally? With public
we
health?
need to...
6 is just.
It's
Try
not
one
just.
and see.
5. I've been on 5 cesarean
And how
tables.
many do you have? Just
I'm not doing again.
You should.
I'm done.
I've been on 5 cesarean tables, and it's hardening to be at a theater. And one incident I had was a light out, and there was no generator.
I don't understand. You were on...
Yes, during cesarean section, and there was a light out.
Theater?
Yes.
And they didn't have...
There was no generator.
Okay.
So if you are a mother in Ghana, your life is like 50-50. When you are going to the hospital, Kolebu, Ridge, Lekma Hospital, from experience, you go and you are in the hands of God. You wish, everybody is praying that you are coming back. I have been to Ridge, Kolebu, Lekma Hospital. And these doctors are miracle performers because they lack the necessary equipment. If we are always promising and giving speeches, it is not going to work. We should look at accountability. Facilities are being built up and entrusted in care of boards. What are the board doing? What are the management of these facilities doing? They know the equipment that they are lacking. Have they gone through the proper channels to announce, to tell the authorities that we need this, we need that? And maintenance. We have to build up this maintenance culture as Ghanaians. We are always getting facilities, nice ones. Lekma Hospitals was recently built. When I went to Lekma Hospital to deliver, it wasn't an old structure, but we had worn out equipment. We were lacking beds because some of them, some were just petty issues, and we leave them to the mercy of the climate to just get wasted. So maintenance culture as Ghanaians, we are lacking them. And we have this mindset. I always say that something belongs to the private sector, private person. We take care of them as Ghanaians. We, the same Ghanaians, will not take care of something that belongs to us, the government. So it's a wake-up call for all of us. Action should be made rather than mere says, mere lectures, mere theories. We should put actions to certain things we do. health in Ghana is an issue. If we are talking about ambulances, nowadays you see ambulances packed with teens and they are just running about. I saw some loaves of bread in an ambulance.
No.
I wanted to take a
Where was that,
video.
please? You don't think you don't have
Kaswa
to-
Road. I'm not just speculating. I wanted to take a video
You
of
mean
it. I
your
missed
own
it.
experience.
On the Kaswa Road.
Bread, but the thing is, it's closed.
I'm
So how do you-
trying to take videos of these things because sometimes when you say it, people think you are speculating
Yeah,
or
so
you are.
we have to challenge you because then
So-
it indicts the efforts
We
that
are,
they are making.
we are all voicing out because it's a worry. My mom died in an ambulance, and I wish that she could have been saved that day. You understand? Even getting the ambulance from Cocoa Clinic to Kolebu was a headache. You see, and it's the lives of Ghanaians we are talking about. It's the lives of individuals. We live in a country where people are dying from malaria. So just like Madam Ayana said, we are focusing so much in Accra as well. When you go to the rural areas, people are suffering, and they don't even have the voices to even be heard. So it's a worry. It's heartening to always come back to the same issue, health. If you go and just the filing or getting a card at the OPD is also a very long queue because the systems are not working. We are now trying to go to the computer system, no paperless, and you'll be in a queue for so many hours and you've not been taken care of. So it's a wake-up call for all of us. We should stop doing the talks, plenty talks. This happened during the Raphael issue. We are here again. We pray that it will not happen again.
And the many silent ones that are not reported, right?
Yes.
So, Doc, at the end of the day, it means that we need radicalized action.
Thank you.
Quickly.
Again,
So maybe
I
in 3
also-
minutes if you can do
I
that.
think
So that we'll
bef-
move on to some
Yeah,
other things.
before I started, I like to express my heartfelt condolences to the family and also to the entire nation. That's why we're here. That is why President Mahama chose the specific team to manage the health of Ghanaians. We have done several things. When you look at Mahama Cares, we've gone all over the country and we've done needs assessment of all the hospitals, specifically our teaching hospitals, plus our regional hospitals. Mahama Cares, plus now we are going to be launching our free primary health care. What is free primary health care? That means that every Ghanaian that enters the health system, from the CHIPS compound to the health center to the polyclinic, will enter the system for free. So it is not free to the government, but it's free to the patients. They are going to get free health care services. We'll launch that in April. We are retooling all the hospitals. We are retooling, in other words, buying the equipment that the nation needs.
At least the top referral
At
hospitals?
least the top referral, as well as even the CHIPS compounds and the health centers as part of our free primary health care system.
You do that?
We are retooling the entire country. Because of what she mentioned and because of what she mentioned. When we did our needs assessment, some of the hospitals that we found, we were just shocked. The equipment, the amount of mammograms in the country, the MRI that she mentioned, the lack of cardiac centers. So the John Dramani Mahama government has done an entire needs assessment, and we are retooling the entire system.
Okay.
The ambulance services will be retooled. The hospitals, the emergency room will be retooled, and needed equipment will come into the country, and we will place them in the right places. The last time a retooling happened was in 2014. Since then, there has been no retooling. There has been no
What
new...
do you mean by, you mean a comprehensive
A comprehensive retooling of the entire country. We're talking about health. And like she said, there's health disparities everywhere.
But they bought
Accra
ambulances.
is
That's
what
also
we are
retooling,
talking
right,
about.
Prof?
No, but
I mean-
buying an ambulance, an empty ambulance, and giving the service to someone else's daughter who is going to now service the ambulance, company that doesn't even have any idea what it means to service an ambulance, is not buying an ambulance. And an ambulance is not just a vehicle. An ambulance is a hospital on wheels. So the idea that some company that doesn't even know how to service an ambulance is now, you buy the ambulance from someone else, you buy the equipment that goes into the ambulance from someone else, and then you give the servicing to someone else who doesn't even know what it means to service an ambulance. That is why we are here. But today we are not here to complain. President Mahama said we came to meet a lot of problems, and he, John Dramani Mahama, will fix the problem. So we are here to fix problems. No more lamentations.
So what timeline should we give you?
We are launching our free primary health care in April. Mahama Cares has already started. You have seen us giving money to people who have chronic diseases, and it's all over. You have seen it. We have started building the cardiac center in Tamale, one in Kumasi, and another one in Greater Accra. We are, dialysis is next. We have had some dialysis machines come into the country. We will be launching free primary health care in April. We are going to retool the CHIPS compound with basic things like the SFIG, the blood pressure cuffs, the thermometers, you know, the basic things for, you know, now we're doing deliveries in CHIPS compounds. What the CHIPS compound need for healthy delivery, the woman lives and the child lives. So those are some of the things that the John Dramani Mahama government is here to fix. We will fix the problem. Even though we saw a lot of problems, no more lamentations. It's now to work. So my minister, Honorable Comrade Minta Akando, and myself, we are here to solve the problem. Even if we're not able to solve all of it, I can guarantee you that we will solve the majority of the problems so that come the end of this term, you will see significant change in our health system.
Ellen, what do you have to say to that? The point is that the action should be more, is that not it?
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap?
So let's see action.
You are seeing action, haven't you seen Mahama Cares?
Because the priority should be to which areas in your estimation?
You've been in government for a year.
National health insurance.
You've been in government for a year.
I'll give you the whole
If you truly want to do this, by now we should be seeing stuff, not complaints. So they said they will do it. It's just a year. They still have 2 more years, 3 more years to go. So let's see. Hopefully, whatever it is that they will do, they will build on what we already have. The problems in the Ghana Health Service and in the hospitals didn't start 8 years ago, or well, 9 years ago. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP government also came to meet a lot of issues. We dealt with it, we didn't complain. We were met right in the middle of our term with COVID and all these issues. I didn't hear the president complaining. I didn't hear the ministers complaining. They moved, they did what they had to do. Now you were here, you're complaining. That you just complained that the ambulances.
I said we're here to fix the problem.
The ambulances was what? Empty ambulances.
They were
contracts
empty.
were given to people. That is complaint. When we took over, what was the situation of the ambulances? Didn't your current finance minister go to court over some ambulances that are still parked here at the Ghana Armed Forces place? What was the status of that ambulances? We have a government that came in and retooled the Ghana ambulance services. I'm not saying it was perfect, but at least it's giving life. In this current situation that we are talking about, the ambulance moved, picked up the patient, and managed to stabilize the patient. The patient did not die because there was no ambulance. There was an ambulance. The problem is that they went to 3 hospitals and they were turned away. And that's why I asked the very first question when I sat down was that, can't the patient be treated by the emergency health services, even in the ambulance, whilst we are looking for a bed? And she said it could be done. So why didn't they do it? Those are some of the things we should be looking at. And then going forward, move on. Everybody comes to meet issues, but you also come to meet things that have been done. So you build on what has been done. If you think that something has gone wrong anywhere, that is why the Attorney General is there. Get those people into court and get them prosecuted. If they actually took some money that they are not supposed to take, get them to jail. But you have to move. We cannot come back here again when there's another incident where another Ghanaian dies just because somebody sitting at a hospital says there's no bed. That should not happen again.
That's at the heart of the issue.
That should not happen.
What do you think that health personnel also need to do amid the difficulties that they are working in? Because they have to then make the decision in the period of emergency. Amid the frustration.
But Roland, if you think, what do I think? I'm not a health personnel. I've never been in health. It would be very, very unfair for me to determine what they should do. They know what they should do. Health personnel are one of the longest trained personnel that we have in our systems. When you go to the university, we all enter the university with medical doctors and nurses the same year. We all leave. We leave them there. The nurses go for about, what, 5, 6 years? Or for 4 or 5 years. And then the doctors go for 7 years. So they know what they should do. We are not the ones to tell them what they should do. We have standards. We have guidelines. And that is why I think an interdiction has gone on. So they're going to check what they did. I know that it can be tough for them, I know. But since you have agreed to work, please, when you are on duty, as much as possible, do what you can to the best of your ability. I'll always cycle back to this young man who died. So we couldn't have done anything for him. Nothing could have happened in all 3 hospitals. Nobody even went near the ambulance to check. Nothing. That is what we are talking about. Yes, you might have deficiencies. Yes, you might have issues. Yes, your infrastructure might be terrible. But does that take away your humanity?
Sure.
So it all boils down to personnel.
Yeah.
The kinds of people we have in our hospitals. And we've always spoken about the kinds of people we have in our hospitals as to whether they have empathy or they just go there because they want their job.
Well, they do. They work under extreme difficulty.
Extreme difficulty. That's what I'm saying. You know, so at the end of it, we all have a role to play. They come to work. You can come to work, and if you don't have the tools with which to work with, you can't deliver of your best. And last week I sat here, I said, if you get a nurse sleeping and waking up at 4:30, rushing through the trotro to go and get to work, gets to work, maybe probably didn't have breakfast, same with a doctor, probably didn't have breakfast, and that person has to see to patients. You understand? It comes out with all sorts of things. But the bottom line is, we need for hospitals to be well equipped. We need to have the right tools for them to work with. Then when they are not delivering, we can then hold them to ransom. But then, about the interdiction, the Health Workers Union is not happy with it because they are saying that, look, it's not just our fault. You can't blame us because we are overstretched. If we don't have the tools to work with, and if we don't have beds, what do you want us to do? So I'm saying that maybe our Ministry of Health has to start thinking about mobile units. We don't have to get MRIs and CT scans in all the hospitals, but at least we can have mobile vans with those things you have.
They're having mobile MRI because they can move within
exactly.
a
So we need a
specific
mobile
district.
MRI unit. We need those things so that they can move around. And those of us who are in Boku and Navrungo and things, we can sometimes have the benefit of getting mammograms done or getting all those things done. And so whilst we're at it, I hope that you capture the fact that the Boku hospital has not been built. We're expecting a hospital. The one that is there was given to us by the Presbyterian Church, and that has been the one that has been serving us. So we hope that you will...
Boku Hospital.
Yes, Boku Hospital. You will be able to finish that for us, and also our chipped compounds. Yes. So I'm talking for myself.
You're lobbying.
I'm lobbying for I'm lobbying
Madam, I think
for my
Boku
people.
Hospital, so you're having a serious challenge with personnel who refuse to come.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a
Because of
Presbyterian
the-
hospital.
I know,
The crisis.
even because of the crisis.
And it has
So-
overgrown. No, but it's not, the crisis is in Boku Central. But you
But the hospital is not far off. I know Boku very
Yes,
well.
you don't have to put the hospital in Boku Central. You have
Then why
Zebila, you have Binduri, you have Bazwa, you have Garu, you have wherever.
Zebila.
So we need a hospital in that Kusau enclave.
Pusaka. Okay.
Yeah, so a hungry man is an angry man.
Who is hungry?
Our staff are
They need to be
always-
motivated.
Yes, motivation is a key. And we are understaffed as well. There are a lot of graduate nurses in the house who have not been posted. We are appealing that you post these nurses. There are a lot of them in the house who have not been posted. And we are understaffed as well. So in a theater, we had just 3 nurses with a doctor, and it was very difficult for them. One handling the baby, one handling me, one handling the doctor. It's miracles these people are
When
performing.
was the last time you gave birth?
7 years ago.
7 years.
And I recently had surgery, so I know
Okay,
what I'm
okay,
talking about.
okay.
You know, so it's serious when you don't have money to fly out of the country and you see the miracles that they are being performed on you. We should equip these hospitals and employ more nurses. Employ more nurses.
Okay.
So it's my plea as well to the ministry to do the needful.
All right. Minister, we'll just go around the last issue.
Yes.
And it's on the subject, it's also State of the Nation. Global Info Analytics, they did the subject matter of the cocoa farmers getting slashes in their prices for the rest of the beans that will be bought for the lower season or the last half of the season. And there's been mixed reaction. But for the main cocoa growing areas, the farmers are not happy. And the percentages speak for themselves because that's their own means to earn income.
Thank you.
And the government, according to those on social media and then those who are criticizing it, is adamant that this is what we can give for the rest of the minor season.
Thank you. I can, my constituency is a cocoa growing constituency.
That's why we invited you as well.
So I have constituents who grow cocoa and I can understand what they're going through. But it's a world market issue, supply and demand issue. It's just like gold. And like every international or world commodity, it rises and it falls. It rises and it falls. So currently we're in a situation where the prices have gone down. Can we keep our beans and wait till the prices go up? Because it's a perishable good, I believe that we are not going to be able to do that. So I think that I have gone into my cocoa growing areas and I've tried to explain to them what the situation is. And it's a rise and fall. And so we are asking them to understand the current situation. It is not a Ghana issue. It is a worldwide issue where the prices are falling. And I believe that the government is still in negotiations with the cocoa farmers to see how best or where the level that they want to live in terms of the prices. So I don't particularly blame one side or the other. Again, some of these issues are not issues that can be solved with just saying one thing or doing one thing. It is, again, a systemic international issue, and I believe that the agriculture minister and the government is really negotiating with the farmers to see how best that can be solved. But I need to go back to healthcare because I'm here because of healthcare. Some of the gains we have done in national health insurance, we uncapped it and now we had 3.4 billion Ghana cedis available. We have used the 3.4 billion Ghana cedis prudently. All claims currently have been paid. So the claims are paid as soon as the claims are. So there's no outstanding claim in the NHIS now. We also have used the 4.1 billion to pay all our claims. None of our vendors are owed. This has never happened in the history of Ghana. As of 2025, beginning 2025, I went to a health conference and the hospitals, where all the hospitals come. And for instance, Kolebu will come and talk about what they have done. And then NHIS is supposed to give us $2 million, and now we only have 1 point something. So everybody had a deficit. Everybody was having running. Today we have cleared all that. Mahama Cares is here. We are now training staff. These issues with staff, no, we are back to healthcare. And the free primary healthcare is going to be launched in April. We are retooling the hospitals. We're retooling the hospitals and the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Ministry of Health, and it's going to really change the trajectory of health in Ghana. When it comes to cocoa, like I said, I believe that this government is really negotiating with the cocoa farmers to see what is the best level that will be comfortable for everyone.
Right. Okay. Please build the Agenda 111 hospitals, okay? How many are
the
you building?
The Agenda 111 hospitals, we are building at least 10.
This year?
This year. Right. At least 10 that has already been budgeted. Right. The issue with Agenda 111 is there was never an Agenda 111 hospital.
We're not here
Half of the hospitals, they didn't even weed the plot for the hospital. There's no foundation. So we are building the ones that are about 75 to above. We will complete
Your wrap-up comments on the cocoa subject and how, of course, there are mixed reactions following the survey, but at the end of the day, the cocoa farmers say they are reeling as well. Some say they understand. But what will be your comments, state of the nation? I
am a daughter of a cocoa farmer.
You are a daughter of a cocoa farmer?
Yes. My father is a farmer. I mean, he worked with ADB all his life, retired. He's always been into farming. So he has cocoa farms. He also inherited some cocoa farms from my grandfather, from his father. And as we speak now, I think his acreage should be hitting about 200 acres.
200 acres?
Across different parts of the country.
You're a rich woman.
So I'm not. It is my father who is supposed to be rich. I said this is for my father. I didn't say I'm a cocoa farmer. I said I'm the daughter of a cocoa farmer. But of course, I also benefit from the farms because any time that he sells his beans, he sorts out his issues, I go and put my hands around his neck and I pick a few CDs from him. This year, I'm not going to get those CDs. He's already called me. He's already done his calculations. And he's telling me that if the prices stay the way the government says they want it to stay, he's not going to have any extra for anybody. But this is the case of, let me say, an educated cocoa farmer. So he can, let me say, he can withstand the shock. But when you go down to my people, let me say my people, because I come from a cocoa growing area, where the cocoa is the lifeline. And that is where the problem is. Cocoa is the lifeline for a lot of people in this country. If it doesn't affect you, you're fine. You can say what you want to say. But for those it affects, this is a major issue, Roland. Mid-season, government comes to announce that the prices that we had agreed on, 3,600 and 50 something, I'm not going to pay. For whatever reasons government cannot pay, this is mid-season. The cocoa farmers have already planned with what you gave them. Some have taken out inputs and implements based on what they are supposed to get. And then right in the middle of it, you come and tell them this.
Ellen, according to the response from the Finance Ministry, i.e. Cocoa Board as well, the target was to have close to 600,000. They've mopped up about 560 or 80,000. And so
Roland,
the minor season is just encapsulating. The minor
for
season is just encapsulating in excess, maybe up to 50,000.
For my father and cocoa farmers like him, whatever it is that the ministry is supposed to do.
So it's only affecting 50,000 beans.
Said who?
That's
for my daddy, who has almost 100 bags sitting in his warehouse.
That hasn't been bought yet.
That hasn't been bought yet.
Okay.
For that farmer who has maybe 2, 3, 4 sitting there, you are taking 1,000 cedis, 1,100 cedis off a bag. And for them, that is what is important. It's not this long rhetoric. If my cocoa beans are sitting down there and it hasn't been bought, and I planned that I was going to sell it at this time, and that is when we sell it, and you take 1,000 cedis off a bag, I am not a happy farmer. It doesn't matter the explanations you give. And they said it has never happened before, and it is true. Look, every government comes into power. There are issues, there are challenges. You deal with it, but you do not deal with it to the detriment of the cocoa farmer. When John Mahama won, when they took over, didn't they have issues with the cocoa? Did they slice the prices? They dealt with it. So what is so different from this time? And that is what we are talking about, how this thing is going to affect the cocoa farmers. And it is affecting them. And if there's a way they can at least sort them out and give them, if you cannot pay for the 3,600 that you say you give them, pay for the 3,100 that they have been receiving. But you do not take money away from them. And that is what government has done. You've taken money away from them. It doesn't matter the massage you give it. It doesn't matter the rhetoric. It doesn't matter how you put it. Money has been taken away.
Cote d'Ivoire, they're having the same difficulties.
Well, so that's their cup of tea. They should deal with it.
I don't understand.
We are dealing with the Ghana one. The Ghanaian cocoa farmer is not happy. And you do not take money out.
It's a world market issue.
You do not. World market issues have always happened. When the MPP took over, what was the prices? And what was it? For almost two cocoa seasons, there was no price increment. The 470 that we came to meet, for 2 cocoa, I think 2017, 2018, nobody increased the prices. But we did not take away from the farmers. At least we paid them what we came to meet. And that is what they are asking for. But you do not, and I don't know how to put it. You do not talk as if they don't know what they are talking about. Monies have been taken away from their pocket. Let's deal with it. What is happening in Ivory Coast, what is happening all over the world is that Ghanaian cocoa farmers, you have taken their money. Give it to them. It's as simple as that.
The Ivorian government also wants to undercut the prices.
Has it done it?
You know, cocoa, I don't understand this
You
whole
have 2
issue.
minutes on this.
Yes, I don't understand this whole issue. Cocoa is bought on a world market price. It's been that way for so long. So I don't see how, if the prices have gone down, you expect us to pay above that. I don't think that is fair. This is a situation where world market prices have gone down. Okay, they made a promise, hoping that the prices would have stabilized in a certain way, and it didn't. So this time round, it's come down, and they decided, look, this is how much we can pay you, and this is what we are getting. So I'm sure it is better than what is happening in Ivory Coast, where they are bagging it and putting it away. You understand? The government is not even paying. And that is how come our cocoa farmers are not crossing the border to go and sell, because if you go out there, nobody's going to buy.
So you're saying there's even no incentive for them to go to
No,
either
there's
Cote
no
d'Ivoire
incentive to go to Cote d'Ivoire. You see, Roland,
Yes, ma'am.
this whole cocoa industry thing, I think it's about time we sat back and then started thinking about the whole thing. And I'm so happy that we found that Upper West and Upper East, some cocoa can also grow. So we must do a lot more research into these places so that we take out that monopoly, because we are playing politics with cocoa.
I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, look, you know,
Which politics?
Cocoa was the same thing that got Kwame Nkrumah in trouble when he
You're
sort
back
of
to
like...
the CPP conversation.
Yes, we are back to the CPP conversation where the pricing of cocoa was reduced, and therefore the cocoa farmers were not happy. And at the end of the day, it was all hula baloo, and then at the end, Kwame Nkrumah was taken out. So cocoa is a very important commodity in this country. And therefore, with Galamsey coming and people cutting down their cocoa trees and all that, I am hoping that we will sit back and then look at Cocoa Board again and probably give them a new mandate of how to go around purchasing cocoa. After all, we don't, I'm happy anyway that the government is going to process at least 50%.
Gloria.
Ghana is going to process
minutes.
that. That's so
Stick to the
This
time.
cocoa issue is an issue of buying and selling.
I don't understand.
So it's not about somebody taking somebody's money. We should let it be
But
clear.
this hasn't happened
It's-
before.
yeah,
In
but
times
then
when,
if-
times when the commodity price
if let's say
internationally has gone down,
if
the government of
said
Ghana
it
had
has happened
always
before.
absorbed or subsidized.
this time we are all suffering as a country. Here we have
You and who?
we even have less beds in the hospitals. We have children still under trees. So this then it should be clear that we are all in crisis as a country. It's worldwide. Buying and selling. I don't think I have to go and buy something for 4 cedis and go and sell for 3 cedis and make a loss. It's going to affect all of us as a country. People are still doing farming. Tomato farmers sometimes produce tomato and run at a loss. It doesn't go through all the whole year or
They
years.
don't have a board, so we don't see it.
Yes, they don't have a boss, so we don't see it.
All right.
Okay, so this is not taking money away from nobody. My grandparents were also farmers. My uncle, Uncle Landa at home is also a farmer. So I understand. Yeah. But we should let them know that this is clear buying and selling, and we cannot buy and go and make losses as a country.
All right. Thank you,
The
thank you,
price
ladies.
of petrol has gone down. The dollar has gone down. The price of cocoa has gone down. That is high.
Even.
Thank you,
cocoa farmers
ladies.
are not amused.
Well,
Yeah.
they can decide to cut the
They
trees
are
down.
not amused. You cannot say that they should decide to cut the trees down.
because what else can
Ghana
they want
was
government to do?
built from Dr. Nkrumah's time on the back of cocoa farmers. And so if you have people like my father, who is 77 years and has done cocoa all his life, and now he's using the cocoa as his retirement benefit, and you take money away from him, and you tell him that he should cut the cocoa trees down if he doesn't
That's
feel
what they
like
are
taking the
threatening.
money.
That's what they are
My father
threatening.
has never threatened to cut the
That's
cocoa
what they are
down. He will
threatening. They'll
never
cut it
do
down,
that.
give to Galamsey.
Because that is his life. That is his life's work. And you know the sad thing, majority of our cocoa farmers are all over 50 years. The young people are not prepared to go into it. But let's not forget and be ungrateful for the work that cocoa and cocoa farmers have done for this country.
The majority
Thank
of the
you.
cocoa
Thank you,
farm
ladies.
owners-
Most of
Thank
us
you,
coming from
The
cocoa
majority
areas.
farm
Thank you,
owners
ladies. Thank you,
are
ladies.
over 50. The workers are
I
young
have
people.
a statement from the DVLA. Can we put that just shortly, just a minute or 50 seconds? Yeah, 50 seconds, let's do that before. But if you want to look fashionable, smart, make sure that you visit any Woodin boutique nationwide today, because Woodin is offering an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics, all coming ready to wear in beautiful designs and colors for both men and women. And so with Woodin, you also get to be creative and versatile with your designs. You also get to be truly confident and show off how African you are in Woodin. Go to a Woodin boutique near you today. You know, we're entering Ghana month. We'll be having the official launch on March 2. So join us, complement your style, and then also make it quite unique. Follow Woodin across social media. We're talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all the relevant ones by go searching for Woodin Fashion. Let's go on to DVLA, and then, but in the meantime, while we get the DVLA statement ready, I have a couple of messages. Wisdom, I see. You say, please, those criticizing the cocoa price reduction, know that it's not only cocoa price that has reduced. Maize, somewhere around 1,000, now 250. But, okay, I get your point there. Moses says that, Ellen means that we should go and take a loan and pay the differences, and says that this is not sustainable. But the DVLA is saying that they're clarifying a misleading media headline on its intention to provide driver licensing services in selected countries. That'll be countries abroad. And it has come to their notice that this is misleading. What they do say is that they wish to indicate that the management of DVLA are committed to ensuring that they fully implement a plan that is sustainable. And so the DVLA will provide training to embassy staff to do verification of documents and forward same to DVLA for processing. Once the processing is done, the authority then will make sure that the processed documents are given to the various embassies back for pickup by those who made those applications. So Ghanaians and anybody would then go to those embassies, do the applications through DVLA liaison officers there, and then you get your driver license, Ghanaian made, in our embassies abroad. That's a good thing. When you go to the DVLA offices too, apparently I didn't know, yesterday I went there and they have a premium service. I never knew that at the head office. So they have a premium like the way you have it in a bank, like one-on-one. And you get your license real time. You know, I never knew that. It's at the head office as well.
That's
So
John Mahama government working.
it's always been there. It's always been there. It's always been there. I agree with that.
That's the government
I
working
got
better.
my license
premium.
renewed through it. I think.
It's
I
not
think it started about 6 years ago.
I
6 years
went
ago.
there myself.
the
It's always
John
been there.
Mahama
All right.
government working.
So we're taking a break.